We are coming. And I'll tell you what, my fellow Americans are coming with me.
It appears the working class have had enough of Joe Manchin's obstructionist bullshit and are planning a march in West Virginia and D.C. to protest their own Democratic senator. So Reverend Dr. William Barber shared the news on Twitter, saying the Poor People's Campaign is announcing today that on Monday, June 14th, we will hold a moral march on Manchin in West Virginia, led by West Virginians of all colors, creeds, etc., from the hood to the hollers. Then West Virginians and Kentuckians will lead a moral march and nonviolent direct action on Manchin and McConnell on Wednesday, June 23rd in Washington, D.C. Manchin's policies hurt poor and low-wealth people. He's against $15 an hour and expanding voting rights. He's supported by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and has abandoned the poor and low-wealth people of his own state and the nation, and they are tired of it. So this is incredibly encouraging to see. When politicians fail to represent the people, it's time for the people to organize against them. Now, of course, there's no guarantee that this pressure alone will force Manchin to actually change and support any of these policies. But this sort of organizing is vital to any pressure campaign and also has the added benefit of potentially turning more people into activists. So more here from Barber, who said, even if Manchin doesn't change, we have to bear witness to how his policies are hurting the democracy, are a form of political and legislative violence, and that he is standing more on the side of the corporate lobbyists rather than poor and low wealth workers and people across this country. And by the way, this is something you're hearing more and more from not just activists, of course, but also from Democratic lawmakers. Jamal Bowman, AOC, have both called out that Joe Manchin is attached to his corporate donors as opposed to actually looking out for the interests of the average worker. So this is, in the past, you have rarely heard Democratic lawmakers speak against their own members, but we're at the point now where there is such an obvious and clear divide between someone like Joe Manchin and Jamal Bowman or AOC that they have to call it out at this point. And hopefully that pressure, that will add to the pressure for this campaign and continue to maybe change the minds of voters in Joe Manchin's own state to recognize that he is simply not working in their best interest. Now, also, of course, polling shows that as well, that West Virginians are completely opposed to Joe Manchin's position here. So recent polling shows that West Virginia opinion on Biden proposals shows that the American Rescue Plan, which Joe Manchin voted for, has 64%. So that passed with 51 votes back at the beginning of Joe Biden's term. But the American Jobs Plan and For the People Act, which Manchin does not support, actually has more support from voters in West Virginia than the American Rescue Plan that Manchin voted for. So again, showing you that Manchin, of course, does not care about his voters or people in his own state. He just cares about corporate donors, lobbyists, and of course his own connections to corporations as well, including a hotel chain, which part of the reason why he's against raising the minimum wage. Last thing here, this fantastic clip. This is going to be Pam Garrison, who's a co-chair of the West Virginia Poor People's Campaign, so a part of this march. Watch her comments here on Joe Manchin.
I've watched my senator talking about compromise, and I wonder, what reality is he in? Does he think, is he that delusional, or does he think we are that stupid? You got to have somebody to compromise. We've had 13 years of Mitch McConnell saying, no, you can't have a living wage. No, the Grim Reaper I am. Let your bills come here to die. I don't care. And now the senator that I put in there that comes here and says, I can relate to you poor people, and looks down at me, his nose at me with pompousness, and don't hear what I'm saying. Yeah, he'll let me sit there and say what I say and pour my heart out. And you know what? He turns right around and does the very opposite of the things that I'm saying is hurting us and hurting our people. He goes and does. We are coming. We are coming. And I'll tell you what, my fellow Americans are coming with me. We don't need guns. We've got morals. We've got justice and a constitution that they have stomped on. And this is my constitution and my country I'm fighting for. And I want everyone, the news media, every one of my West Virginians, every one of my Americans to know we are in this together, and we're not taking no for an answer, and we're not listening to the lies, the conspiracy theories, and the just downright immoralities anymore. I've got the Lord, and I've got reverence. I've got my people behind me, and we are coming. Poor People's Campaign, we're not political. We're not about different parties, but we are about policies that lift us up and that helps everybody. And how can somebody have that much power in their hands and not use it for good? We can do better. We deserve better.
I absolutely love the energy and passion here from Pam Garrison. This is somebody who has a future in politics if that's an avenue she wants to go down. But regardless, as an organizer, as an activist here, she's doing a fantastic job speaking on the issues, rallying voters in her state to put pressure on Joe Manchin to potentially change his mind. Now, obviously, that's going to be a huge mountain to climb, but any sort of pressure campaign needs a march like this, needs a rallying cry to bring voters around the state to put their energy towards something. So I'm glad to see this happening. Good on Pam Garrison and Reverend Dr. William Barber putting this together. And of course, if you're in West Virginia or in DC, I'm going to have the links below the video. So be aware when this is happening and get involved and march if you can.